Hi, everybody, and welcome to Weekend Gameplan with Marcus Hersh. I'm Dan Illman, alongside Daily Racing Form handicapper and analyst Marcus Hersh. We have three Saturday game plan spot play selections for you. Let's kick things off with one of the races on the Louisiana Derby undercard, the New Orleans Classic. As we take a look at the field, the deserving morning line favorite, Marcus, is the number 6, Silver Dust. And while Silver Dust has really matured as he's gotten older and he's relaxed and settled down, the mile and an eighth distance has always been a bit of a bugaboo for him.
Well, thank you for bringing that up right off the bat, because that is one of the main reasons I was encouraged to take a shot against him. I respect his form right now for sure, and he has become an increasingly effective racehorse. His age is less important than the fact that he used to be a lunatic, and gelding and a lot of hard work by the trainer Brett Calhoun and his staff have really helped this horse develop into, he's not a grade 1 horse, but he is like a grade 2 horse. He almost won this race last year, and he's better now than then. I think he's going to run well. I don't see why he wouldn't continue to hold his form and be very competitive. But again, he looks like he loses just that little bit of momentum when you get him beyond a mile and a 16th. That might not matter anymore, because he might be expending less energy in the paddock and acting up in the gate and just settling better. We'll see. But I like his stablemate better by my standards.
Well, Fearless is going to show some speed. He's been brilliant in 2 starts for Todd Pletcher. Silver Dust will likely be close to the pace prompting that one. By my standards, of course, won the Louisiana Derby last year. You could not have asked for anything more from a prep race last time out from By My Standards. That looked like a horse that was getting ready to get back into the stakes ranks. He was very impressive.
Again, I completely agree with you, Dan. That is how I framed his comeback as well. He did more than a morning workout, but I mean, the jockey didn't even move his hands. He won very easily. Like, when you have a comeback race from a long layoff, you want to get something out of it, but you don't want to do too much that it, compromises your ability to keep building and going forward through the form cycle. And that was potentially ideal. I trust him a lot more going 9 furlongs than Silver Dust. He's got all the upside. I don't know he's going to be as big a price as his morning line. In fact, I know he's not going to be. I'm sure he's going to be shorter, but I do think he's going to be a longer price than Silver Dust. And I am not on the Fearless train. I mean, all credit to the horse for running fast last time at Gulfstream. He completely overwhelmed that field. I thought he was pretty hard ridden to get a big lead before he was eased up the last half furlong or so. I'm not that impressed with just what I'm seeing from the way the horse goes in his training or racing. Sure, I mean, people aren't paying me hundreds of thousands of dollars to pick 2-year-olds out and racing prospects. Maybe he's just going to be fine. I just thought he's a little bit sloppy. I can see where he might have had some physical problems just by the way he's put together and the way he looks going. And it's a huge step up in class. Whether he's fast enough to get a clear lead on Silver Dust all the way around to the quarter pole, I don't think so. I think Silver Dust will be up on him at the 3/8 pole, and then we'll see if he's for real or not.
We'll see if he's for real indeed. The 8 By My Standards, 9-2 on the morning line. Maybe we get 7-2 as perhaps the third choice in this race. Let's stay at the fairgrounds for the Tom Benson Memorial. This race is on the turf at a mile and a 16th. We'll take a look at the field right now. Marcus, I thought you made a great point in the written portion of Weekend Game Plan, talking about what happens to the fairgrounds turf course when the rails are down. Let's explain for the folks.
Well, I've been talking about this incessantly all week, and I'm sure I've talked about it so much that it will turn out not to be true, but it almost has to. In fact, they've already there's a temporary rail that they move it in and out. Obviously, that happens everywhere. And before all their major stakes cards, they take that temporary rail down. They run at the 0 true position with a permanent rail down there. They did that before today. I just watched an 11-1 shot in a turf sprint race. Break from post 7, show speed, get to the front, and wire the field, winning comfortably. This is the way that things have gone every time the rails come down this meet. You've got a chewed up course outside of like the 2.5, 3 path down at the fence. It's like a golden rail on dirt, the same sort of thing. We've seen it all season when they've done this. I don't think that it's going to change at all. Easiest way to get to the fence is to show speed, and Dream Passage, I think, is faster than the main pace rival, not a product price. I know that Florent Geroux is going to be completely cognizant of the best part of the course. I expect him to ask her for speed out of the gate. I think she can make the front. I do not think, unfortunately, she is going to be nearly the price of her morning line. I mean, we're watching her last race at Sam Houston. This was a race that favored closers. It was her first race off a break. I think that she needed it. I think she's going to improve off it. She's worked a ton of times since that race, suggesting that they've gotten to do whatever they needed with her to get her up to her peak form, which I think we're going to see on Saturday.
And I think we saw your point about the rails the last time there was a big race day at the fairgrounds on Risen Star Day, where we saw Synchrony, the big favorite, being taken off of the rail at about the 3/16 pole, and sort of his momentum was stopped for a bit. He could not run down the loose pace setter. They'll have a rematch, obviously, in the Muniz Classic on Saturday. Let's head to Santa Anita for the San Simeon Stakes. This race is at 5.5 furlongs on the turf, and Sistron is kind of the big name. Sistron really got good on dirt last year. Kind of an interesting placement, Marcus, switching to turf off of a long layoff.
Yeah, I think he's much better on dirt. Listen, this is not the kind of play I would normally make in this spot, but we're in a situation now where there just aren't a lot of other sports going. I get the sense that more people are tuning into racing now than typically is the case. And I wanted to put a horse out in this space that I thought was just going to win, regardless of the price. I mean, sometimes people just want a winner. Sometimes they want an anchor for a vertical or horizontal wagers. Bound for Nowhere is so much the best to me in this field. And I don't know that he's going to be entirely bet that way, between Voodoo Song coming in for first-time Mandela, Sistron with the figures. Maybe he's a tick or two higher than what he should be. But Bound for Nowhere is one of like the dozen top turf sprinters in the world. He's shown what he can do in England and in America. He's been working, looks like lights out at Turfway for the first start of the year. He's a little older horse, but he's got low mileage, and he is, with any sort of, anything like his typical form, he's going to blow the doors off this field.
We see Bound for Nowhere striding away at Belmont Park. This is a horse capable of running triple-digit buyer speed figures anytime he sets foot on the turf going a sprint distance, and he is catching Sistron on a different surface coming off of a layoff. He should be tough. Real quick before we close, Marcus, getting back to the Tom Benson, I was remiss in not mentioning Alti, the morning line favorite at 7-2, who ran well last time out, finishing second. I think the plan, though, for that race was take her back, make run, and expect to finish second. They just finished second to the wrong horse.
Yeah, I mean, she could make the race playable because she's definitely going to get bet. How much she gets bet, remains to be seen, because I do think that people are going to be attuned to the rail situation. Cox and Geroux are popular connections too. But Altia, I mean, I don't like where she's going to be in this race. I think she's going to be too far back to get all the best of being on the fence and close to the lead. I like Dream Passage a lot. I'm expecting her odds to be depressed. And the other horse I'm considering, because she might make the front, is Not a Prada Price. Anyone else in this race, I don't want a short price. You got these two former Italian horses, Fullness of Life and Flower Party. Both of those horses are going to be 30-1. I would use horses like that over the shorter prices in the race that are drawn outside, like the winning envelopes. And Altia, I don't want to use her on top under any circumstances in this race. If she's better, she beats me, and that's that.
And she is going to take money, of course, finishing ahead of Got Stormy, who bombed the big price favorite at Tampa Bay. So to reiterate, Marcus's 3 weekend game plan plays for Saturday in the New Orleans Classic is the number 8, By My Standards. In the Tom Benson Memorial, it's the number 1, Dream Passage. And in the San Simeon Stakes at Santa Anita, it's the 2, Bound for Nowhere. Best of luck with your wagers.